I'm really motivated by the whole idea of upgrading finance. And I think there's so much that blockchain can do about uplifting finance. If you think about it, we're in a former stock exchange building and it's empty now because finance is different than it used to be. And I feel like blockchain's another iteration, and also the merging of TradFi and DeFi. So I'm super excited to be a part of bringing those together.
Right, we realized that capital markets wanted a company like ours to be publicly traded.
And Canada's a phenomenal market for a stablecoin. We have $400 billion in FX trading every day. It's $3.6 billion across the border with US every day. There's $316 billion of Canadian in international treasury reserves around the world.
Stablecoins are fundamentally new technology that are building blocks for applications. Again, fintech source of applications to really take root and be global and be accessible to billions of people.
Welcome to The Edge of Show, your gateway to the Web3 revolution. We explore the cutting edge of blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs, ordinals, DeFi, gaming, and entertainment, plus how AI is reshaping our digital future. Join us as we bring you visionaries and disruptors pushing boundaries in this digital renaissance. This show is for the dreamers, disruptors, and doers that are pumped about where innovation meets culture. This is where the future begins.
Hi everyone, Josh Krieger here, host of The Edge of Show, live in Toronto at the Blockchain Futures Conference. And I'm here today with a very special guest, Annalise Osborne, the Chief Business Officer at Kadena. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, Josh. Great to be here.
It's been a while since we've talked about Kadena, but I also learned while we were chatting that you're also a William Mary grad. So that's great. Liberal arts folks coming together in the blockchain industry.
Love it.
And I guess we'll go into what's going on with Kadena, but fundamentally, what brings you to Toronto this week?
I love consensus. I love blockchain futurists. It's my second blockchain futurist conference here in Toronto. I'm really motivated by the whole idea of upgrading finance, and I think there's so much that blockchain can do about uplifting finance. If you think about it, we're in a former stock exchange building, and it's empty now because finance is different than it used to be. And I feel like blockchain's another iteration, and also the merging of TradFi and DeFi. So I'm super excited to be a part of bringing those together.
Yeah, that narrative concept has been around for a while, but it feels like it's really starting to gel. I'm curious how Kadena has evolved over the 5 years you guys have been around in terms of supporting that sort of integration of those two things.
Sure, we were founded by two JP Morgan developers who left JP Morgan's innovation lab to create a public chain. And so they recognized previously about the benefits of financial settlement on blockchain. And we've created a kind of a crypto world there, but the idea now is we're kind of creating the TradFi world as well. We just launched an RWA token standard. We have our first tokenized fund company that we launched today that we announced. So we're super excited about building out both the TradFi and the DeFi from a regulated perspective to kind of bring that together.
And is this an RWA standard you're hoping that is adopted by the whole industry?
Well, it's 3643, but it's on our smart contract language using Pact. So it's the same, it's generally the same. We also are becoming EVM compatible with the idea of we want to work within the ecosystem, because I think there's a lot of sharing going on, and interoperability is very important. So we'll have 3643 on our EVM chains, and then we'll have the similar RWA token standard on our other chains.
Cool. And what are some of the more pioneering projects in the RWA space that you're seeing maybe within your ecosystem or just broadly? For example, one of the investor our company tokenized durian, which I thought was a really good use case. But what are you seeing out there?
I think that's really cool. I think probably the first is payments, right? Tokenization, like the idea of payments. We're working on that. We are working on tokenization of funds as well. We're working on supply chain tokenization projects. We're working on fan engagement, which is also tokenized. And I think that a lot of it is when we don't have to talk about tokens or blockchain. I think that's where we're going to.
That's I love that. It's great to see that. I think these use cases for blockchain can come to life with a little bit less regulatory red tape, right? Where these are ideas that have been around a while, but now the coast is clear. It's just go, innovate, disrupt. What are you looking forward to over the next year in terms of changes to regulation, both in Canada, North America, globally, and what sort of new opportunities is that going to open up for Kadena?
Sure, very much so building. So institutions are very excited about building and using blockchain technology. I think there were concerns before because I think it was gray in the regulatory front. And now the whole idea of having black and white with an SEC that is more interested in figuring out innovation, and also obviously the new administration is very kind of pro-innovation and technology. I think that's huge. And I think that resonates because globally, I know a lot of institutions have been working outside of the US to try to create projects and sandboxes using public chains, for example, whereas I think within the United States, it's going to be, we're definitely year of building and growing this year. And if we kind of look 2, 5, and 10 years out, like I think so much between now and in 2 years, all the building and the adoption is really starting. And in 5 years, we're not going to talk about crypto.
That's a bold prediction. You are a thought leader. You recently published a book on the industry. I'm curious what folks can learn from sort of unpacking maybe some of the materials that you created.
Sure. My book is called From Hoodies to Suits, Innovating Digital Assets for Traditional Finance. The whole idea is education. I think the industry is held back by education, regulation, and interoperability. So it's for the crypto curious. It's to understand what is this technology. I don't really get it. I've also had tech people really enjoy it because it teaches them about finance and why finance matters to the tech. And so the generations are changing. The millennial and Gen Z, who are very digital, are looking for investment opportunities, payments, different types of experiences. And I think we're the future. We're just building.
Great. Well, I just learned about the book, and I'm definitely going to unpack it. And great to have you on the show today. If people want to learn more about you and Kadena, where should they follow? Maybe on X and websites, whatnot?
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn for the most part, Annalise Osborne. And then I'm on X as well, but not as often. But I would love for you to reach out. Happy to have conversations. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's take a pause to shout out one of our favorite partners. For tech innovators facing legal challenges, Zuba Lawler is your go-to law firm. They focus on understanding your technology and business model before addressing legal requirements. Specializing in blockchain, AI, VR, AR, quantum computing, and more, Zuba Lawler offers expert guidance in capital raising, IP transactions, M&A, litigation, and compliance. Visit zuberlawler.com, that's ZUBERLAWLER.com, for cutting-edge legal solutions.
Hey everybody, Richard Carthon here live at the Blockchain Futures Conference here in Toronto, and I have Jelena Djuric, who's working on something really awesome I learned about. I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I really like the Cosmos ecosystem, and she just told me about this awesome stablecoin that's being built on top of it called Noble. So pleasure to meet you. Please tell us more about what you have going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So Noble was born as a project back in late 2022, right after the Terra collapsed. I'm sure you remember. So at that point, we didn't have any native stablecoins in the Cosmos ecosystem. So we decided, let's build a protocol, a asset issuance protocol that could support stablecoin issuance and onboarding of stablecoin liquidity into the Cosmos ecosystem. We've since grown quite a lot from those early days. And most recently, as I mentioned, we launched the Noble Dollar, USDN. It is we call it a composable yield stablecoin. So it is a dollar-pegged stablecoin, just like others, of course, that you're familiar with. But the difference is that the yield of the treasury bills that collateralize this dollar stablecoin get passed on to application developers, end users, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot in between there that obviously I didn't necessarily cover, but basically Noble, we're focused on asset issuance of stablecoins and also real-world assets like tokenized bonds, but also we are focused on the application layer, so making it really easy to, again, build performant stablecoin-centric apps in a way that are useful to everyday people.
It's essential, and I appreciate you breaking that down. And for a lot of reasons. One, the stablecoin ecosystem all over is a very growing and thriving area within the Web3 space. And so you kind of carved out your own niche within Noble and how you're going and addressing it. What are the things that are coming up that you think will continue to be value adds to people who are looking to engage more on the stablecoin side of the business?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're thinking about it from the perspective of a builder, the fact that we have, growing liquidity of stablecoins, I think makes it really exciting for, new kinds of applications, new entrants within the developer community to kind of come in and build the fintech type of applications that are crypto native from day one. I actually think only really now is both the infra side of the equation ready, right? Like from a scalability, fee perspective, to the stablecoin side of things, where you are increasingly getting regulatory clarity and mainstream adoption and awareness of this new technology, right? Like stablecoins are fundamentally new technology that are building blocks for applications, again, fintech source of applications to really take root and be global and be accessible to billions of people. And so again, it depends on which side of the coin you're looking at it, but there's really just exciting new tooling, new infra stacks, again, available, for builders to take advantage of this growing market. I mean, just 5 years ago, the stablecoin market was $5 billion. Right. 5 years later, in 2025, it's now to almost $250 billion. And there's projections that, in the next 5 years, up till 2030 and beyond, it'll be $1-2 trillion market. So, it's, again, that's all growing. It's being more accessible for developers and end users alike.
Yeah, I really appreciate that explanation. I think a lot of people don't really understand how much is coming into the stablecoin market and where the value is and why you should consider looking to build and be part of something like Noble. Now, we are here in Canada and Toronto, and we are at the Blockchain Futures Conference. There's a lot of places that you could have been. Why did you decide to come and participate in this particular event?
Great question. I'm originally from Toronto. I've recently made my way to New York City, where I now live, but this is my hometown, and it's great to be among friends and the community. Yeah, so basically I'm from here.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you here. For people who want to learn more and connect with you and learn more about Noble, how can they do that?
Yeah, I'm an avid user of crypto Twitter, so find me on X or Twitter. It's at Jelena_Noble. You can check out our project, of course. Noble.xyz is the website, or follow us also on Twitter, Noble_XYZ.
Awesome, Jelena. Thanks so much for spending some time.
Hi everyone, Josh Krieger here, host of the Edge of Show, live at the Blockchain Futures Summit in Toronto, Canada, and I'm here with Vincent Kedar, the CEO of Polymath. It's great to have you on the show.
Welcome, thanks.
And I guess, we last connected in Dubai. Are you still
on a couch?
Yes.
Talking about our health.
And longevity, still into longevity?
I am, yeah. Mine started with I read a book, How Not to Die, right? And that was actually kind of transformed me. Anyway,
is that Brian's book?
I think it was Dr. Krieger or something of this nature.
Yeah. Another Krieger? Cool. Yeah. So Brian Armstrong has a book, How Not to Die too, and I use some of his products.
Oh, okay.
But speaking of living and sort of prospering, I mean, what a change of course for our industry over the last few years. I mean, you joined Polymath, the CEO, in 2021. Maybe give us a little bit of history on what's happened since then with your organization and sort of where you guys are at this moment.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's been quite the journey. So I joined in October 2021. At that point in time, we were one organization building a layer one blockchain. And at that point, we were separating the organization into two separate entities. Our not-for-profit, Polymesh Association, and then Polymath, the for-profit entity. So we carved out all this wonderful intellectual property. We domiciled that in Switzerland, and it operated independently for 3 years. Polymath then went on its own journey to build a platform and an application for the industry to tokenize anything, any real-world asset, and we did it exclusively on Polymesh, our layer one, because we're loyal, and it's our baby, right? We launched our baby. Now, look, wind the clock forward actually 3 years. Today, what we announced is that we are acquiring Polymesh back into Polymath as a subsidiary, but operating it as it was.
So why the change?
Why the change? We think that the industry,
I guess regulations are more friendly for, yeah.
Well, and I think what started happening on the Polymath side is that we were becoming more inquisitive, right? We realized that capital markets wanted a company like ours to be publicly traded, right? We tested that out with the market. We've got a great banker that we signed on as well, and the syndicate that's forming to represent us. And when we started going down this journey, and this was back in 2024, I had a discussion actually with the Polymath Association CEO and said, you know what, I think we're stronger together than we are apart. And maybe alignment for the industry is a good thing, right? So, because now you can invest in a publicly traded company with a layer one right at the top co, or you can still invest actually via the token actually at the bottom co, or at the fundamental blockchain. And anyway, that thesis started to actually resonate well with the industry, and being able to, like, we will be the first company out of the gate. And I would say we're increasing the stakes for other layer ones that are in our space. Unless you're publicly traded, I would say, like, what is your governance model? We are now governed as a public company with the board and fiduciary responsibility to shareholders. Whereas with the tokens, well, unless you're a DAO or some other type of structure, maybe you don't have that same responsibility.
Who's the accounting firm for that?
Good question. Who is the accounting firm?
I mean, I think it's an interesting thing, because I know Animoca Brands has been doing some complex accounting sort of reconciliation as well, trying to sort of lead the industry and on the accounting side. And I think what you're doing is a forcing function for more accountability for
right, especially in this industry where tokenization of real world assets, this is a capital markets play. It's not a set of payment rails. We're not tokenizing gaming credits or like NFTs. This is people's money, and it's all about capital formation. So when you do this, you got to do this right. And like I said, I was so worried about A, the assets that come on our chain, B, have they been verified, and then C, just being able to scale this up. And you've got one shot at this, right? You've got to build trust in all aspects of what you're doing. If you don't have trust, and not just from the issuers on a platform, but from the capital markets industry, you've got nothing. Like, we're dead out of the water.
So you guys have also invested in a number of the leading projects in the industry. What I guess differentiates your chain from other chains that are doing RWAs? Obviously, there's not going to be one winner here in terms of the RWA race. I've had a lot of interviews recently with other chains doing something in the RWA space. So what's your sort of broader thesis on the market and some of the other portfolio companies that you're working with?
Right, yeah, so that's a very good question. I'll say this full stop, is that RWAs is all we do. That's been our sole purpose since inception. So it was called something else before, and when we were conceived, we first started building an application on Ethereum, and that's when we pivoted to building our own layer one. Purpose-built for securities, purpose-built for the tokenization of real-world assets. Now that narrative only started, a couple of years ago. Before it was called securitization. Now it's like securitization of real-world assets. It's a more sexier theme, and people really understand that, and it truly is everything. What gets me excited is about, I'll say the pipeline of activity that we see of issuers that are coming on chain. A lot of real estate. Real estate is the number one asset that's highly illiquid. People understand it. People actually feel highly secure actually investing in real estate. Now you got an alternative way to invest, right?
Well, why is it better than like a REIT, for example, or like, Fundrise?
Yeah, so very good question, right? So a REIT can technically go bankrupt, but all the underlying assets are still there. The buildings are still there. They're all viable entities. Well, if you're investing via token into a commercial real estate building or even a residential, you're investing directly into that asset. You're a fractional owner of that asset.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most exciting things that I think is to come with the new regulatory climate. Any other projects in your portfolio, recent partnerships that get you excited that you could share?
I'll say that we announced actually a relationship with BitGo, so they're a new digital custodian. Zodia, a new digital custodian as well. In Canada, Balance and Tetra Trust actually, are digital custodians as well. You got to build that entire ecosystem in order to create a viable market, for people to be able to issue actually on chain. So it's a.
And are you looking for custodians globally at this point?
I think we got actually our fair share now of digital custodians that, to cover the world. We have a lot of issuance platforms actually that have now come on board as well. We're working with a large, and you mentioned REIT, we're working with a large REIT with billions of dollars of assets, and they want to start now providing an alternative mechanism in order to invest in real estate.
That's really exciting. It's great to catch up with you and learn all the cool things you're doing. What's the ticker on the new company?
Well, that hasn't been defined. We're still waiting actually for that official announcement. But follow us actually. Like just Google Polymath, Polymesh. Analytics Insight is the RTO shell. It has an AI platform and an ATS in Europe that we're going to utilize and transform that into the venue that we need. Right.
All right. And are you on X?
I'm on X. I'm on Twitter. I'm LinkedIn. On Instagram. Telegram Signal. Just
Vincent Kedar.
Yeah, that's it.
Vincent, great to meet you again, and congrats on all your success.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey listeners, are you ready to amplify your voice in a digital world? Introducing .podcast domains, your gateway to the future of online identity. Whether you're a creator, a company, or just someone with big ideas, .podcast is for you. Own your unique digital identity, connect securely, and explore hundreds of apps with no renewal fees. Don't wait for someone else to claim your name. Secure your .podcast domain today and be part of the next generation of content creation. Visit get.unstoppabledomains.com/podcast to get started. Again, that's get.unstoppabledomains.com/podcast. Your voice, your rules, your identity.
Hey everybody, Richard here. We are live here at the Blockchain Futures Conference here in Toronto, and I have a local here. We have Alex McDougall, who is with Stablecoin. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem, my friends. Thanks for having me.
Hey, well, we want to learn more about what you are building, so tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So Stablecorp has been building a Canadian dollar stablecoin in various iterations since 2020. We have been early on the non-USD stablecoin train, and the market is finally catching up with us. So we're very excited today to announce that Coinbase Ventures has invested in Stablecorp, and we're partnering with Coinbase to bring QCAD, our Canadian dollar denominated stablecoin, to the masses in Canada. And Canada's a phenomenal market for a stablecoin. We have $400 billion in FX trading every day. It's $3.6 billion across the border with US every day. There's $316 billion of Canadian in international treasury reserves around the world. It's kind of a quietly awesome currency. So yeah, let's digitize it. Every single transaction that happens with Canadian dollars can be done better with stablecoins, and it's time to make that all happen.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that big news. That's massive news. And obviously there's been a lot going on to get to a place where you're able to make this announcement. So what has been like the build up to this moment, and what does it mean now moving forward?
Totally. And especially with non-USD stablecoins, when you look at Tether and you're in a country with a destable or with an unstable currency, they're willing to deal with all kinds of weird UX and download MetaMask and figure out stuff just to get a little bit of stability with a US dollar stablecoin. When you look at Canada or not, other markets that aren't US dollars, there needs to be a lot more for people to realize the value of a stablecoin. And so a ton of what we've been building and a ton of what it took to get to where we are is all the deep infrastructure. Sure, some of it's regulatory side of the house. A lot of it is connectivity with advanced payment rails. So an example that we always use of kind of a perfect use case for our stablecoin, Brazilian students coming to Canada. So we built one simple consumer-facing application. Brazilian students can do a local transaction in Brazil with their PIX, which is their real-time rails, gets converted into USDC on Bitso, goes from USDC to QCAD on a decentralized exchange, and then from QCAD right into the universities from using fiat integrations that we've built. So all the user needs to do from Brazil is initiate a transaction there, put in their student number, never needs to set up a Canadian bank account. Whole thing costs about 90% less than using traditional fiat rails, and it all happens instantly. So, but it takes a long time to build all of the rails to put all of that, to make it seamless and make it easy, takes a long time. So that's really been what we've been building for 3, 4, 5 years. We tried initially just launching it and seeing if it would come. That's not how non-USD stablecoins work. You need to build out the rails, but now that we've done it, it's game time.
Off to the races. I mean, that's awesome. And those are the kind of use cases we've been talking about for several years in crypto, right? Like, how do you make it so easy where you don't have to know about all the things that are happening in the background? You can just press these couple of buttons and you're done. You're to that point. So obviously this is the first step into many more things that are coming. Are there other things that you kind of tease up that are coming out that you're currently working on?
Yeah, so we're looking at doing a yield-bearing version of the coin at some indeterminate future point. So think about it as kind of a QCAD checking and a QCAD savings. We're also looking at kind of listing it all across all of the exchanges in Canada. We also have a lot of payment integrations and some really, really big payment rail partners, like globally some of the largest out there. We built some buy now, pay later facilities that are just pure advanced programmatic payment rails. And all of this has just been sort of built up in the pipeline. So we're super excited to get it all out the door.
That's awesome, man. Cool. So much that's going on. People need to learn more about what's happening. And before we learn where they can connect with you, we're here. We're at Blockchain Futures Conference here in Toronto. you're in your hometown. You were telling me earlier before we got on, like how when all these conferences come into town, you basically it's a marathon at this point, right? You're at all these different conferences. So why did you choose to participate in this particular event?
Yeah, absolutely. We've done Futurist for 3 or 4 years now. It is the premium Canadian digital asset conference. There's lots of other bigger ones, and Collision has some digital crypto stuff to it. Futurist is dedicated to this. Tracy and the Untraceable team do an unbelievable job putting it on. The usual venue for it, Rebel across the way, is a fascinatingly unique venue. And it's the one time when Canada does a wonderful job of traveling. We all get together at Consensus in Austin when it's there. We all get together at Bitcoin Miami. We all get together at all the Solana conferences overseas. Right. We don't do enough at home. And Futurist is the one time where everybody just cuts the shit and gets together. And so it's always a great time. And so we'll support Futurist until it's not there to be supported anymore.
Absolutely. Well, glad we're able to do this on your home turf. For people who want to learn more about what you have going on and connect with you and can learn more about the company, how can they do that?
Stablecorp.ca is our website. Follow us on LinkedIn. You can follow us on Twitter as well. And we're out there. Find us, and let's start building some stablecoin use cases.
Absolutely. Alex, appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, dude.
We've reached the outer limit at the Edge of Show for today. Thanks for exploring with us. We have room for more adventurers on our starship, so invite your friends and cool strangers to join our journey. If you're among the hundreds of thousands following us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or watching us on Myco or YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, rate us, and make an awesome comment too. And don't forget to pass this episode along to a friend or two who would benefit from it. Doubling back to again, recommend checking out myco.io, where you can watch The Edge of Show and earn for your time and attention. That's myco.io. Don't forget to visit theedgeofshow.com. The is part of the domain name, where you can learn more about collaborating with us and also subscribe to the Edge of Weekly newsletter for the latest Web3 news, events, and show drops. In addition, connect with us on all major social platforms by searching for The Edge of Show. Join the exciting conversations happening online. Lastly, be sure to tune in next time for more great Web3 and AI content. Until then, keep pushing the boundaries. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The views and opinions expressed on The Edge of Show reflect solely those views and opinions of the show host and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. Our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. From time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of these links. Refer to our website, www.edgeofnft.com, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, and privacy policy.